So the creative streak has always kind of been there. Me being in, I love to troubleshoot things because I'm in
Mhm.
IT during the day, right? So as a network engineer, we tend to troubleshoot issues. Like if something is not right, we try to make it better, right? And that's the whole objective. I think me being disciplined and focusing on, different things helps me become creative.
Hi, Rico.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine, thank you. So great to meet you.
Like to meet, nice to meet you too.
But Rico, it's so great, all the things that you do, and you're also you are a podcast host, and you have a cooking program as well. I saw a few of your cooking programs on YouTube.
Did you?
Yeah, and tell me what inspired you to do that?
Well, I've always wanted to learn how to cook. I mean, the one thing is that I tell the story all the time, and it's hilarious because it has something to do with my mom. And mothers in the
Mhm.
kitchen,
Mm.
when they get in the kitchen, they don't want no one else to be in the kitchen. So
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I want to learn how to cook because I was fascinated in regards to the way that my mom cooked. And because she like cooked normal dishes, it was just the way that she prepared it, right? So me being little, I was about how can I say about 10 years old. And that's when I fell in love with the way that she was cooking. Of course, the food was so good. So I wanted to know exactly how she made it. But unfortunately, my mom did not allow me to cook in the kitchen because I guess
I
it was a little
see.
bit too hot for a 10-year-old. So I was like, okay. Um, so as I grew, growing up, I say, hey, mom, I'm a teenager now. I want to learn how to cook. And she was like, no, you don't know how to cook. So she actually she kept pushing me out of the kitchen until I insisted. So there was one dish that she said, hey, there's a dish that you can help me with. I said, okay. So it was chicken and dumpling, and it was kind of like I wouldn't say it was like a doughy pasta. It was a pasta dish with gizzards, right? And my mom would actually roll the dough. And I was like, oh, that looks like fun. So she'll put me on the table away from the kitchen and she said, okay, I need you to roll this. And then you're gonna have to slice it in lines. I said, okay. So I'm loving this now because my mom allows me to actually cook with her. So now I'm cooking. While she's cooking, I'm rolling, having a good time. Now, of course, the kitchen is always messy, right? No matter what, right? So I got flour, I got dough, I got everything. I'm a little kid still in the kitchen. So I'm cutting the lines, and then I unfortunately the lines wasn't even enough for my mom's
Oh
approval.
no.
So she said, what are you doing? I'm like, Mom, you just told me to move the lights. She said, no, that's not the way you do it. And then, she pushed my little head out the way. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, Mom, like, I really want to learn this. I said, give me another try. She's like, no, because we got to eat. I was like, okay. So from then on, of course, I told myself that I have to learn on my own. So I stayed, I helped my mom here and there, but mostly I let my mom cook and I watched what she did. So I was always inspired, and I would watch cooking shows like Emerald Live and Bobby Flay and guys that was actually cooking a lot and also doing reviews. So as I continue as far as to live in my mom's house, I had to live through TV of actually cooking and actually watching her. So the love of cooking, for me, just from a visual standpoint, and then finally I took it to when I actually moved out, and I moved to Oak Park, Illinois, on my own place, and I said, well, since I'm living here by myself, I guess I got to cook for myself now. So
Mm.
now I started to, open up books, recipes. I started off with Italian. Um, Even though it's Latin in my blood, it's just it was more of, I said, let me start off with something that I can actually really get involved in. So I started off with the Latin, of course, because of the pasta that my mom also made as well too. And I was like, okay, let's go. So I'm started off with pasta. So my very first dish was fettuccine alfredo with chicken,
Oh,
and
wow.
I did not add shrimp. So I made that. That was for my first girlfriend in my place, and I made it for her, and I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And then I started inviting people over, and then that it just started like happening. People started liking my food. I was like, wow. So I started doing different dishes between chicken and beef is what I was actually making. So it was always a side dish and just trying to prepare it like I would see it on TV. And I think because of everyone's taste buds are not the same, I was catering to what their taste buds were,
Oh,
right?
yes.
So tasting the food and I said, hey, taste this. What do you guys think? Or what do you ladies think? You know, and it was more of continuously working through recipes and things like that. So one of my favorites was Salisbury steak, actually.
Oh, really?
Salisbury steak was very, very, very good. My mom had, because my mom collected a lot of recipes as well too, but she had this old one that was from the Sun Times. I think it was from the Sun Times or the Tribune. And it was an oldie lady that actually was in the kitchen and they showed the dish. And I've always had that recipe for Salisbury steak. So I made that. And actually, I haven't made it in a while, but that was one of my signature dishes that I love to make too.
Amazing. So you experimented also a lot, and by watching your mom and watching programs, so you almost created then your own dishes.
Correct. Yeah. So when I was creating the dishes itself, of course, I would add, I would learn to actually try and see what spices was actually there that was available for me to be able to use. Now, of course, salt and pepper was kind of like the common thing, right? Salt and
Yeah,
pepper on
yeah.
everything. And after a while, I started learning. I said, okay, let me minimize the salt. I'm not a pepper guy, so I don't really like pepper a lot because I don't know, it just doesn't work well with me. So I actually, just used a little bit of salt itself, and because most of the cream sauce kind of gives you some flavor,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'll put a little bit of salt here, just give it a touch of flavor, and then go from there. But over time, when I was living in Oak Park, then I moved down to downtown Chicago. That's when I really started cooking, and then I found the love of becoming a chef, a part-time chef. And I was the home chef, right? Home
Yeah,
chef pretty
yeah.
much. So someone was like, hey, you need to put this. So I was posting pictures and posting videos and things like that on Facebook. And someone said, hey, you need to have your own show or you need to start a catering business. I said, nah, I'm not gonna do the catering. That's a lot of pressure. I said, let me do a cooking show. So I started my cooking show 4 years ago, actually. So it was
Yeah.
close a little bit after COVID.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But that's wonderful that you and also creative. So where does this creative streak of yours come from?
So the creative streak has always kind of been there. Me being I love to troubleshoot things because I'm in IT during the day, right? So as a network engineer, we tend to troubleshoot issues. Like if something is not right, we try to make it better, right? And that's the whole objective. I think me being disciplined and focusing on different things helps me become creative. And I think because of the creativity piece is learning one thing and also adjusting to another helps the
Yeah.
creative mind. So for me, it helped me a lot with being able to look at different avenues of food, meaning that I just don't cook Italian. I cook Italian, Asian, Latin, Mediterranean, Pakistani, and Hungarian, German. I cook all different types of dishes, which during my time I said, I don't want to just cook one dish. I want people to know about different cultures. The creativity was bringing
Wonderful.
cultures together through food, but also having people try different food as well too, so they can actually understand. Hey, this is what grandma cooks in the kitchen in their culture. right? And I think that's very important for people to be able to understand and be able to see what's life outside of the US, you know?
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's true. That's absolutely true. And now your podcast and what inspired the podcast
So the talk show, as
or
a
the
talk
talk
show
show?
host,
Yeah.
yeah, as a talk show host, I've always been a Jay Leno, uh, Johnny Carson, Arsenio Hall type guy. I was a guy where I really loved to see how they interact with people. I've always been a people person. So when it came to me talking to people, it was always, hey, I used to have guys call me and say, hey, I got this girlfriend problem. I need your help. I'm like, why me? You know, and say, oh man,
Yeah.
because you're just so good with relation. Like you're relatable. You can talk to people. You can actually give them advice. But that goes also with understanding the troubleshooting piece
Mm.
for my job, but also it's helped me when someone brings me a problem. I say, this is what might be the options to be able to make it help better, right? So the talk show piece was more of being able to relate to people first through Facebook Live. So I used to just do Facebook Lives,
Oh,
and
really?
Facebook Lives would talk about financial, it might talk about, Mother Nature in regards to Chicago, how it could be cold one day, warm the next day, and just, making comedy out of it, and also relationships, talking about different relationships. If you're in a relationship, what do you do in regards to how you both need to stay connected, but also how you work things out, in as a
Yeah.
couple, right? No matter who your partner is, you're all human, and how do we actually relate to each other, right? Also, your career goals, right? What is your career goals? What do you really want to do in life? What inspires you to be able to do that particular career?
Yeah.
What can you do if it doesn't work out? What is your plan B? A lot of people don't think about that. Like, hey, I really want to focus on this and hopefully this works, but do you have a plan B? I mean, that's like you have a major and a minor in
Yeah.
college, right? So what do you fall back on if that doesn't work? So I started that out in my car. So driving to work
Really?
for 15 minutes, I would do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and stay
Yeah.
consistent with it in my car. So people would love to actually see that. And I continuously done that. So, well, doing that. So one of the things is that um, I made sure that I I wanted to make sure that I kept doing that consistently until people knew who I really was from the Rico No Suave show. So the Rico No Suave show was more of Rico Suave, but he's not suave.
Oh, okay.
So people really love that piece of how can I say, of the show.
Okay. I just wanted to ask you about the
Yeah, so
name
that made
Los
my show.
Suave. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about the name Rico
Uh-huh.
Suave, but then now you explained it to me.
Yes. Yeah, the Rico No Suave show was very of course, there's a Rico Suave, and I do multiple things. So where Rico No Suave comes from is, of course, the Rico Suave, the artist, but I'm also a dance teacher too, in the Latin scene. So they used to call me Rico Suave, and I say, you know what, I'm gonna call myself Rico No Suave, so people would know that I'm not smooth. I'm not smooth. So that just translated into me being using that name and actually using it for my talk show. So after I did that from the talk show, from the I would say my TV show or my talk show in my car, I
Yeah.
moved it over to a channel that was an internet-based channel, and
Mm.
that was called Radio Éxito. So Radio Éxito, that only lasted for 2 months because it was only audio, and I'm more of a visual person, so that didn't really work out the way that I wanted it to. So then after I finished that, I said, hey, I'm going to continue this. So I've always wanted to be a talk show host on TV. So I said, I'm going to actually start that. So I started that out in 2018 with my former co-host, Valerie, and we actually had that going. And then, of course, kind of parted ways, but I still kept going as far as with the talk show. So it's all walks of life. I've been,
Wow.
now it's crazy. Once you start getting towards where Hollywood is, you start doing more actors, more musicians, and you start doing boxers and things like that, from different areas. So I'm always trying to keep it diverse in regards to careers, and also people that have a purpose and a positive meaning within, for the world to see.
Mhm.
So yeah, I've been doing it 7 years. Actually, next week on Wednesday meets my 7 year anniversary.
Wow. Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and where does the dancing fit in? Did you do dancing as a child as well?
Yes, as a child, I've always been dancing. It's just more of the teaching piece where that came into play. And, that
Okay.
started in 2006. So
Mm.
2006 was when I actually had my first class teaching. And I asked my dad, I said, Dad, what do you think about me teaching? He said, I think you should do it. You have a good personality like me. I was like, oh,
Oh,
okay. I was like, okay. I was like, yeah, I think I should do that then. And then he was like, yeah, I think you should do it. You had a personality for it. We're outgoing. We love people. And I think this is a great thing for you. I think you should try it. So I tried it. And it was on Mondays at a place called Images. And Images started off with 30 people. Next thing you know, it went up to 50 people. And
wow.
next thing you know, I got up to 100 at one point in time. 100 people for a class. That
Amazing.
also helped me a lot with being in front of an audience.
Oh,
And
yes.
I really like that because I was very interactive in being able to dissect and be creative. Once again, being creative in regards to understanding how people and focusing on certain people that's learning, right? So this marks 18 years, I think. 18
Wow.
years. Yeah, 18,
Mm.
19 years of me teaching. Yeah.
So you kind
And
of stick to stuff. I mean, you're determined to when you start out with something, you're determined to make it work.
yes, it's a very important. It's very important to make sure that you make that work because if you know you have the talent to do so,
Mm.
you still can focus on multiple things if you know that you have other things that can attach to what you're doing. Like
Yeah.
everything that I'm actually doing attaches to everything. For example, my talk show, I'm an MC. So
Mm.
as an MC and being
Oh,
able
yeah.
to announce things in front of people makes a big difference. So I could talk to people on the mic and be a public speaker. That all comes into play. And then me as my talk show, I'm continuously talking to people and people are seeing exactly what I'm doing. So I'm automatically talking to people as well too. As a chef, people love food. I'm a talk show host. When I'm talking to people on the camera, I'm talking and giving instruction, which goes also along with my dance classes, right? So I'm giving instructions in regards to how you do
That's
certain things,
good.
so it all
Yeah.
comes together.
Mm.
So for me, it's always connecting the dots and showing my talent in different ways. So thank God for that. I'm using my talents to be able to help people learn how to cook, and help them to eat. Why and then dance.
Yeah, but and you've got this personality. I mean, the way you talk and the way you tell stories, you're really a storyteller.
Thank you. I
Mm.
appreciate that. Thank you
I
so
can
much.
I can really see when you're that you say you're doing MC work as well, that you can grab the audience, and that you can entertain.
Yeah. Yes. I think entertainment piece for as an MC is so big for me. It's very important, for me to be able to connect with people and also to make them happy, make them laugh, make them
Yeah.
smile, make them be serious at times, right? Like as a wedding MC, I have to know when I can control a crowd and make sure that they're paying attention to what's important, right? And then also when we
Yeah.
actually are ready to dance and have a great time as well.
Mm.
So yeah.
But Rico, what are your wishes for the future? What is the big dream?
TV is where I'm going. So
Oh,
TV is
really?
definitely where I'm going. I definitely want to be on TV. I definitely want to make sure that the world sees who Rico No Suave is, and I
Mm,
think that's very important. And I think the more that they see as far as my personality, I'm kind of that hype man, that party starter type guy where I can be serious, but at the same time, too, I'm more of a hype. Let's go, let's have a great time, and
yeah.
let's work it out. Yeah, let's
That
go.
smile of yours belongs on the TV.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I
No,
appreciate it.
I do hope your dream comes true, and you know that you can, because you are an entertainer. I can definitely see that.
Thank you. Yeah, that's my passion. My passion is to entertain. My passion is to I had and also this comes into a play where I had some really great guests on my show. One, and actually I just had two, I should say, I just had that was really impactful. The last week I had John's Crazy Socks, where there's a kid that actually has Down syndrome, and his father also said, "Hey, we're going to start up a business. We're going to start up a business called Crazy Socks." So they got all of these crazy socks of different
Wow.
type of designs, but for him having Down syndrome, the connection that him and his father has is so immaculate. It is amazing. And I think because they peer off and they want the world to smile, they're spreading happiness of smiling. So when they came onto my show, I was amazed. I had a great
Oh,
time with them,
lovely.
and it
Wow.
was how they just worked with each other and also how they built their empire, for people giving feedback of socks, and then also them starting to create their own socks and then giving back to the community as well is really big. So that was one. That was good. And then yesterday, because I have my show every Wednesday, so Michael Jablow is, I want to say he's a historian in film editing. What a guy that actually have been in from the 60s to the 70s to the 80s to the 90s as far as a film editor for different films, and also people that he met alongside and also are still friends with them to this day, and just understanding what it is behind the scenes as a film editor and what they think when they're actually ready to produce
Yeah.
a movie. It was amazing. I call him a legend historian in film editing, and we had such a great educational lesson and an inspirational lesson for people that's actually in the film industry. So that was amazing yesterday.
Well, it's great that you talk to, I would say, real people, you know, people who are in the industry working, because sometimes we only see certain names or certain people, or, you know, the Hollywood stars, but there's so many people every day doing such
Yes,
great work in the arts or such great work in life, you know, like you're
yes,
saying, the son and father who does the socks. It's just so important that we hear these stories, and thank you for bringing it, you know,
thank
for
you.
giving people that opportunity to tell their story.
Yes,
That's
very
wonderful.
important. It's very
Mm,
important. I think people should know more about it. And also, the world needs to know about what's going on with great people that's doing things that's just
exactly,
behind the scenes as well. So,
exactly. Rika, but thank you so much. It was so lovely to talk to you. You're such a
likewise.
great guy, really. I'll be
No,
coming to
thank you.
Chicago one day and meet you in person.
Yes. You're more than welcome. I need to come out and visit you. That's what I need to
Yeah,
do. Where
definitely.
you're at, I need to be there.
Yes, definitely. You have to come to Vienna.
I will. Trust me, I will. I plan on doing some international traveling for the talk show as well. And also for the cooking
Great.
show. I think that's going
Yeah,
to be really super awesome for me to go and understand other cultures as well. So
absolutely. Yeah, you can come and have a look at what the Austrians cook and bake.
I love that. I love that. Put me in with grandma. Put me in,
Eh,
coach. I need to go with grandma. Tell me what grandma's
there you
cooking
go. There you
today.
go.